Thanks for being with us, everybody, and welcome into Living the Life Method, the Empowering Futures podcast, right here on the Empowering Futures Podcast Network. Matt Dery with you from Financial Architects Q5, and also, of course, with Empowering Futures. As on Living the Life Method, we talk to some great centers of influences and guests that really have an amazing story when it comes to working with others and certainly touching others' lives. And today's guest is certainly no stranger to that. I like to say that Mark Howell is a philanthropist, cancer survivor, soccer coach, and giver. And he joins us today right here on the Empowering Futures Podcast Network. What's up, Mark?
Oh, what's up, Matt? Thank you for that awesome introduction, man. I'm happy to be here. Excited to chat with you today.
Very exciting to have you on, Mark. And I guess we should start with upbringing, where you're from, and why you and I maybe are here having this conversation today.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I mean, I'm born and raised from Brighton, Michigan. I am, local to the Livingston County area. My wife was from Brighton. We graduated from Brighton High School, 2001 and 2003, respectively. Went off to Western Michigan. I was a big soccer player. That was kind of the whole background. And went and played soccer at Western Michigan for a few years before I found my way back to the Brighton area. And when my wife and I met, and we've kind of settled in there now, and now we've got 3 kids of our own in the Brighton area going through schools. And I coach at my alma mater. I coach at Brighton High School now, the varsity boys team, and it's home to us. And we just love that area.
Mark is the founder and executive director of Fund to Life NFP. He also is the founder and director of Shining Light Company. We're going to get to all that. He mentioned before as being the boys varsity soccer coach at Brighton, which you guys had a great run this year, Mark. And I know you're going to be saying bye to some seniors. Let's get the soccer stuff out of the way. I know you love it.
Right.
Well, how was the season overall?
Yeah, last year we made it all the way to state final. We lost in double overtime to Troy Athens, and that was quite a magical run. This year was a little bit different season. We were riddled with injuries, but the group that we graduated this year was a really special group. It was a group that we were together with for the last 4 years, kind of that core group, and really built a lot of solid relationships with those guys. And that's really what my life is kind of built around, and what I really cherish and embrace is our relationships with various people of all ages. And so, coaching soccer is just another way that I get to build those relationships and build into young men. And so we're sad to see them go, but excited at the chapters ahead, and look forward to what's on the horizon.
So we talk a lot with the Life Method process and what John and Danette Bell do at Empowering Futures, and I know you know them a little bit,
Yes.
about life events, and you underwent one many years ago. Take us through what happened from a certainly from a medical standpoint with you, and the journey that brought you to where you are now.
Absolutely. So October of 2012, my wife and I were getting ready, and we brought our firstborn child Gabriel into the world October 16th, and it was a really exciting time. And I'd been having some abdominal pain, and so just kind of following up with that. 2 weeks after he was born, they found an 18-pound football-sized tumor in my abdomen, and it was literally the largest organ in my body, outside of regular organs, and obviously it was not supposed to be there. And so going from, kind of the highest of highs, being a new dad and expecting, so many great things, and kind of anticipating all of that excitement, now my wife and I were navigating potentially the biggest loss, and just so many unknowns. The doctors quickly rushed me in for some oncology appointments, and they weren't really sure what they were looking at. And they quickly diagnosed me with stage 4 melanoma. The 18-pound tumor was killing me from the inside out, and that's what was causing so much, uncomfortability, discomfort in my body. And they gave me 6 weeks to live, and they gave me the option of, hey, we're going to do either a Hail Mary surgery where we think we're going to lose you on the table, or you can kind of just wait out your time, to die. And so although neither option looked really great, obviously there was only one clear option for us to go down. And so we elected for the Hail Mary surgery. For us, I don't know where you're at, Matt, but like before kind of this whole journey, we didn't really have I did not have. My wife did. I didn't have faith, and I kind of just turned a lot of my life over to that because everything from that moment forward was just blind faith in something. And so I kind of just went all in, like, all right, God, like just direct me wherever you need me to go, and I'll
Sure.
follow your path. And he led us to the only oncologist that would surgically take me on because the risk was too high. And a lot of what was unknown at the time was, when you go down this journey, you don't know that doctors are rated on how they do surgeries and what have you, and their success rates. And so, because of that, most oncologists would never even take me at their table because they knew that they're probably going to lose me. So why would they take a for sure death sentence and have their ratings, docked? And so we found a doctor up in Flint who was like, "Yep, I'll take it on. What am I going to do with a 30-year-old male? Like, he's got a newborn son. I've got to take this on." And it started about a 20-hour surgery. And come to find out after the fact, he had kind of lined up everything to a T to make sure that I had the best possible chance to live. And we can get into some of those details as we go. But I mean, I made it through that surgery. Obviously, I'm here today. So, spoiler alert, I'm still here. But,
Jeez.
so many miraculous things happened along even just that initial surgery, that initial recovery, those first 4 weeks, kind of getting back on my feet and making it through. And I still have pictures today of that size mass, and it was just, gosh, it was just massive, and it's wild to think about. That thing was growing inside my body, but I was able to make it through, and that really kicked off a 4.5 year cancer journey for my wife and I, where, everything was just unknown and we really had to embark on everything firsthand. Our surgical oncologist was really a big advocate for my care. He was a big advocate for me seeking out cutting edge treatments, finding options. And when the doctors kind of line you up and say, "Hey, like, these are our 4 options that we can treat you with right here in this hospital," which was where my insurance was through. And the options went from a 15% short-term remission rate, and it equated to a 0.1% long-term remission rate. And the 3 other options were worse from there. I was just like, at 30 years old, I mean, those aren't even options. Those are death sentences. And it's just, how fast do I want to die? And so I started looking at, what do some of these other options look like? And my wife was awesome. She hopped on every Facebook group known to man. She advocated for me till hell froze over. And she was just researching endlessly to try and prolong my life. And so we started looking at what that would look like. And we found options around the country, but knew that we could never afford to travel or to pay out of pocket all of those different options. And the community, the kind of the greater Livingston County community around us, one that I had lived in my whole life, one that I had coached soccer in my whole life. So I kind of built up a little network. They started a fundraising effort over the next 18 months where they raised $200,000 for my
Oh my
wife and
gosh.
I.
How about that?
And it literally funded my life for the next 4.5 years. When I had a cancer place to go to, or I had some place to travel to or pay out of pocket, I had Mark's Cancer Fund that I could tap into, and I never had to worry about money. We did the simple things like, we downsized our home, we simplified life, we did the responsible things. But without that support, I know that I wouldn't be here today. And we were surrounded by meals and dream vacations and endless love and support, and all of those things together, are a big part of why I'm here today. And as I traveled to different cancer clinics and really learned about different people and their journeys in their own cancer journeys, I saw so many people that maybe had a similar obstacle in their way that I was facing, but they didn't have the means to get where they needed to go. They didn't have the ability of a community to just rally around them financially or support them or lift them up. And so they might have a spaghetti dinner with 200 of their closest family and friends, but they might raise a couple $1,000s.
Sure.
And some community members around the Brighton area would throw a fundraiser and they would raise $80,000 for my wife and I. And right out of the gate, although I felt super blessed, it just felt a little bit wrong. That why is my life being saved when theirs will not be, simply because the roadblocks in their way are just too great. And I really started dreaming about an organization that maybe could remove some of those roadblocks and open things up for them. And that's really what started me down the journey of looking into the nonprofit world and developing something that could help remove some of those obstacles, for a variety of people.
We're going to get to both of your companies, your nonprofits, and everything that you're doing. I gotta ask you though. You get the
Yeah.
news. You got 6 weeks to live,
Yeah.
and what went on in the house? Your wife's pregnant. I mean, I can't even imagine. And you made the right choice, obviously, with the surgery. But what's going on in that house? How did she hold up? How's your son? I know you have other kids now. I mean, there's a lot that went into that.
Right. And so I'm a little bit of an eternal optimist, and so I chose, like, I made the choice early on that I just I just electively chose, like, my son flat out cannot grow up without a dad. Like, it just
Sure.
wasn't an option. I didn't really allow myself the opportunity to dwell on the fact that I shouldn't live or that I shouldn't be here. And I was somebody who, the way that I was raised, primarily by my parents, awesome married, they're married to this day, 45 years. They've had an awesome
Nice.
relationship. But my dad was a very, like, gritty individual, very determined, very blue collar. Like, he worked himself up from nothing and made a very successful life from nothing, basically. And so I watched him do that in his life and just kind of will himself to be successful. And a lot of who I am today really stemmed from watching that very closely just throughout my childhood. And so, from an early on stage, right from that diagnosis, I wanted to know right out of the gate, what are the odds? How long am I supposed to live? And I wanted to know all of that because I wanted to beat it all. I wanted to prove it all wrong. And so, where they always say, like, don't Google, don't do this, don't do that, um, and most people still do anyways because it's all doom and gloom.
Yes, they do.
I wanted to know it all because I wanted to know it so that I could exceed it. I could surpass it. And I wanted to be the anomaly. I wanted to be the black sheep. I wanted to be the miracle man, just because who doesn't dream of doing that stuff, right? Like, oh, I'm not supposed to be here, but I'm going to will myself to live. And I kind of took a little bit of a kind of a little bit of a hard approach and kind of put my stake in the sand, like, I will survive one way or another. And I think that that helped me through a lot of very trying times, that I just wouldn't accept defeat. And I also was a firm believer, though, in when I was delivered with heavy news, when I was really down, when I did have those dark moments, I would allow myself permission to go through that feel for like a 5 minute segment, when I have a complete emotional breakdown, or I'd get really angry and release it. And then I would just instantly move on. I was very firm on, I don't want the moments to turn into hours, to turn into days, to turn into weeks. So I would just feel it, get through it, and move forward. So it was a very taxing time around the house with, I mean, my parents, we're a very tight-knit family, so my parents were obviously very stressed watching their oldest son go through something that they had no control over. My wife, having just given birth, she's going through, postpartum on top of potentially losing her husband, and she kind of just dove right into how to find other options for me to live, and that's how she kind of coped. And we were fortunate to have family around in all avenues that helped take care of Gabriel while I was in the hospital just nonstop, while I was, traveling the country nonstop. And
Yeah.
it was just, it was so much. And when you look back, it's like, wow, I can't believe we even navigated that. But, we couldn't have done it alone, and I think when people say it takes a village, those cliches ring true for a reason. And it truly did take a village. And we had so many people come behind us in so many different ways.
So Mark Howell acted once he got healthy and wanted to make a difference. And we're going to find out what he did with not just one, but two organizations. We'll do that next with Mark Howell right here on the Empowering Futures Podcast Network. This is Living the Life Method.
As a business owner, have you ever thought about what it would look like to leave on your terms? In a business, there are too many moving parts to fully understand and implement a practical succession plan while at the same time living inside your own business. Your energy today is focused on running a great company. In the end, Don't you want the highest value? Get to the next phase in life on your terms and leave an impactful legacy? We help with that. The Q5 Experience. We help take the I don't know out of what's next.
Welcome back to the program, everybody. Of course, you know, we've got 3 podcasts right here on the Empowering Futures Podcast Network, Inside Financial Architects, where we talk about financial well-being and your money decisions. And of course, the Q5 Experience Podcast, Succession Success. Business owners that are thinking about exiting at some point. You're all going to exit your business. Many of them don't have a plan, aren't sure where to start. That's what we help them do with our friends at the Q5 Experience. We talk great succession stories at Succession Success. And right here, Living the Life Method, talking to somebody that certainly did that in Mark Howell, cancer survivor, philanthropist, soccer coach, dad, does it all. And Mark was telling his story and sharing before about his surviving of cancer about 12 years ago. Now, Mark, fast forward, you get cancer free and you decide, and you got to tell me the order here. There's Fund to Life and there's Shining Light. Give me the
Right.
chronology of both of those organizations and why you just felt like you had to do this.
Well, I knew from an early on standpoint when I was going through the cancer journey that there must be a bigger purpose as to why my life was saved, why I'm still here. There were too many miracles along the way that presented themselves where, come hell or high water, I should not be here. It's just stuff that didn't make sense, complete miraculous things that, that turned over. And so I knew that I was meant for more, and my journey was meant to help inspire others in some fashion. And so the best way I knew how to do that was much the same way that the community supported me. And so Fund to Life was born. Really, the idea was born in 2014 when I was still kind of newer in the treatments, but it really came to fruition in 2017 is when I kind of started enacting it. And the whole purpose of Fund to Life, the original mission, was to help people facing major life-altering circumstances of all kinds. And so I really wanted to help alleviate burdens placed on people, especially financially, when they're faced with a cancer diagnosis, a loss of a loved one, a house fire, some kind of a tragic circumstance that really eliminates hope in their lives, and the finances can become very burdensome. And I wanted to help make that a little bit lighter. And it really all came together when I was filling out my own application for a grant midway through my cancer journey. And it was roughly a 10-page grant application. And once I got through a first couple pages and I realized how much red tape was there, and I saw the dollar amount attached to it. If approved, it was going to be like a $500 grant. And I was traveling to and from Jacksonville, Florida, from Michigan every 3 weeks for 18 months. So you can imagine the expenses and just of that part of the journey alone.
Yeah.
And $500 was not going to do anything. And it kind of hit me. It was like, this isn't even worth my time. And so the organization that I created called Fund to Life was really meant to be a beacon of hope in people's lives. Our tagline is shining light in life's darkest moments. And that's what we really yearn to do. And so now we take applications in from people that are facing various crisis moments in their lives throughout the state of Michigan. And we look to help alleviate some of that burden that those crisis situations place on their lives and make life a little bit lighter. And knowing full well that the ripples that can happen when you ignite hope in someone's life can be so powerful, and it can be transformative in their life and in their families' lives and in the lives of people around them. So, that's really what we do now at Fund to Life. From 2017 through today, we have given away $1.2 million to residents around Michigan in various custom sizes. And each year we just kind of exponentially grow that number. And, and we're just looking to be a beacon of hope in people's lives in as many ways as possible.
So more information on that, you can go to fundalife.org. As we said before, Mark Howell is the founder and executive director. All right, you weren't done, Mark. It could have been very easy for you to say, we're going to do this nonprofit. We're going to help people. Because I went through it, like you said, $500, dude, that's like one flight to Jacksonville.
100%. 100%.
But so you weren't done.
Yep.
So then what happened?
So I'm acutely aware that time is very limited on Earth, and I really want to make the most of my time here to be an example of now my 3 kids, my wife, those around me. And I knew that I had more to give than just a nonprofit. And one of the things that I'm really passionate about through coaching is just relationship building, being a beacon of hope, how to be positive through adversity, how to look at obstacles as opportunities rather than choosing to look at the negative. And I had gone through some coaching of my own, some coaching courses of my own, just personal development stuff, and it really led me to launch a new company called Shining Light Company. And it's kind of a 3-faceted company for different things that I've been either passionate about or asked to do. And one of them were just various speaking engagements where I would share my story on some kind of a larger scale. But really, the biggest one was a program that we developed called Spirit of a Leader. And it's basically a 1-day personal development program really targeted towards teens. I think an age demographic that really is struggling with mental health, with really struggling with how to proceed through adversity in a lot of different ways with technology advancements and social media, and they don't know how to sift through all of that. And so giving them the tools, the resources, the confidence to navigate some of those waters in a 1-day, like, heavy duty workshop where they're participating. It's not just the old slideshow where we're giving them all the tools, verbally, but they're not actually putting them to use. I mean, this is like they're physically exhausted at the end of the day because they're actively going through things. And so that program is ever evolving. We're adding things to it, but that's kind of another piece of it. And then also nonprofit consulting. I get asked by a number of aspiring founders and passionate people that want to make a difference in the world. They're like, how do I go about starting this nonprofit, or where do I go from here? And so just helping facilitate those conversations in a little bit more of a structured environment, that can also, bring a little bit of revenue for my time, because time is treasured, and but also really just help give back in a more structured environment so that the things that I've learned can be put to good use for other founders as they're looking to make their impact in the world.
More information on that, you can go to shininglightco.com. Unbelievable what Mark is doing. And certainly you are somebody right now, Mark, just feeling it through through the Zoom call here and talking here on the pod. You're bringing a lot of energy to the table. I got to ask you about your health now. How are you
Yes.
doing? What's the protocols? Are you going to the doctor 4 times a month? Just be like, hey, check me out. Like, I'd be freaking out. How have you handled yourself, and how are you doing?
I'm a pretty low stress guy, Matt. I'm an eternal optimist, but I'm coming up on January. Will be 8 years cancer free, which
Oh my God.
is
Awesome.
amazing. In the melanoma world, 10 years is kind of the stipulation of, like, hey, you're in full remission. And so although I always had internal tumors, in various spots of my body, it was melanoma, which was a super rare mutation of the disease. And I see the doctor super rarely. I kind of follow up with my primary care doc, but that's it. Just regular visits, regular physicals. I'm otherwise in pretty good health for a guy that's missing all sorts of organs. You'd be amazed at what you can live without. That's already
Yeah.
your body. Let me tell you.
Oh my goodness. All right. Final thing for Mark Howell. You are a terrific speaker. I've really enjoyed the conversation here. How do folks get a hold of you? I know you want to reach out and help in any way, and be a part of maybe speaker series, and I know you already do that, but if people want to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
Absolutely. People can reach right out to me at mhowell@fundalife.org. That's my email address. They can call or text me. I'll just give you my cell phone number. It's 810-923-3757. And I'm happy to help. People reach out to me all the time that are either going through their own cancer battle and they need some inspiration or maybe a little bit of guidance. And although I don't have all the answers, I'm always happy to be a lifeline in those moments, and I would happy to be involved in whatever capacity people want to reach out to me and get me involved.
Mark, it's been a pleasure to hear your story. Appreciate you sharing it with us, and good luck, my man. And we'll be watching for you and continue to root for you, your family, and glad everything is going well.
Matt, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
There he is, folks. Mark Howell with us. I said it before, philanthropist, cancer survivor, soccer coach, just a giver and a great, great guy. Check out what he does at fundalife.org and also shininglightco.com. This has been another episode of Living the Life Method right here on the Empowering Futures Podcast Network. Thanks for watching and listening.